Okay, so 3 times a week, I am very privileged to be able to walk with one of my sisters through the woods. And so, because we're looking at the connection between us and nature, which the fact that we have to say we are looking at the connection shows how disconnected we often are, because these trees don't need to say, I'm looking at the connection between myself and the earth. That does not happen. Um, there are things. One of my elders said to me that she knew a woman who took people on forest baths, so they could walk through the forest. And there are so many things that prove how healing it is to walk, so to move your body, to be in nature. So all this loveliness. See if this camera is clean. Um, when I woke up to go walking this morning, my children also jumped up and came downstairs in the pitch black to walk around in the gorgeous fog that's out here, because we get to walk around in the cloud. Um, so I don't know how long this will be, because I don't want to hold this camera this whole time. But I did want to share part of my walk. I don't know if you can hear. There's like early morning condensation falling out of the trees. Um, some of it's down on the ground in front of me. There's this gorgeous fog. There's birds. There's little squirrels that are jumping through the woods. And every once in a while, because of where we are, and I have to change arms because that arm doesn't like that anymore. Every once in a while, because of where we are, uh, you'll see deer, grouse, which is pretty awesome. Oh, there's somebody's kitty cat who's probably aggravated that I walked through. And then when you're quiet, which I really am not now because I'm talking to you, when you're quiet and then you can hear yourself, you're going to hear the vibration of you with with the earth around you. Um, when I came out here, not only was the fog low, but the full moon is at half. So it was very, very nice and witchy. Very nice and witchy. There are times where when we're out here and we're walking, there may be a little bit of sunlight that comes through the trees or lands in a particular place on some water, greenery, just beautiful things. So being out here, which is clear that it's medicine for you, lowers your cortisol levels, brings more oxygen to your body, allows blood to pump into your body. Being able to be out here with a friend and talk to her is good for stress. It's good for all those things in our bodies that we know light up when we're little kids, when we find our friends and hug them fiercely or play with them or giggle because we get to see them. All of those things occur because I am where my body is supposed to be, outside, breathing. There's little spring peepers around the corner that make really lovely noise, and they're probably about that big. That's probably a little big for them. They make lovely noises. So one of the things that I've experienced is I've never been someone who likes a building. Uh, Even as I travel, and I'll share about that later, when I pick places that are connected to outside. My daughter and I were talking about this one time about how you can travel and you can travel and go to a place that looks like you're still in America or still in the West or still in wherever, and completely miss what is available to you um, in the culture, in the people, in the plants, in the animals around you. So when I get the chance to travel and choose where I'm going, I choose a place that is connected to outdoors, because when I hear this, I hear me. And so along with that, not loving buildings, I I don't One of the things that I love about homeschooling is that the children get to be in the house and they can go outside whenever they want. That we can be in nature whenever we want. That we could be at a museum wherever we want. We could be anywhere we want, anytime we like, to learn. And the same is true in my spiritual and religious experience. The best thing about being in a church is the people in the church. It's When I think about church, I think about listening to my father sing. I think about my mother leading our uh, youth choir and youth fellowship. I think about the people. I think about the smells and hugs of the adults who loved on me. I think about the music that I made and heard. So it's not the building. And I have really appreciated any space that I've been able to connect spiritually to ritual that is outside. So the blessing of becoming, I thought I saw grouse. I was going to turn this camera. Is the blessing of being initiated into a traditional system is just how explicit the connection to the earth is. And I'm not going to discuss my initiation. I am going to discuss that I appreciate the reverence for all the different parts of the world around us where the divine is manifested. So paying attention to different birds, paying attention to uh, attention to different plants, knowing how different plants affect our health, our spiritual understanding. And one of the things that I really appreciated was, there's uses for different animals, of course, in traditional work, but there's also use for plants in traditional work. And one of the things that one of my seniors said was, we were learning about making different spiritual baths and using herbs. And her statement was to make sure that we thanked the plants. There's a lot of attention given to the animals, and you know, because it's easy to see their connection to us. They are breathing, they reproduce, they have babies. There's blood coursing through their veins, and these plants are magnificent. Actually, I'll stop real quick. Right here, all of these, real quick. I don't know. Oh, it doesn't show up on camera. But oh wait, I think it does. If you can see in these um, plants, all these little spider webs are in these plants that have not come back yet, have not grown back, and they're all up and down this walk, which lets me know that all the little mama spiders who are preparing for their babies are making their webs. And even though the calendar doesn't say it's spring, the earth says it's spring. And even that, the fact that there's the fact that there is the fact that there's the opportunity to watch mother spiders do their work is another spiritual message. Every culture has, and I may have walked away from where I was, but every culture has uh, the significance of different animals, plants, all of those things. And so I remember getting ready to walk out of the woods, but I remember we hear about. Let me talk and then walk. Let me walk and then talk. We hear about in the Christian church. We hear about doves. We hear about lions. We hear about. Um, trying to think, eagles, especially Black church, because we also hear there's songs that we sing that have all these allusions to water, beds of water, bridge over troubled water, all those things in our lexicon. Um, and a lot of it is stories connected to the roots of other traditions that undergird Christianity, not our songs, not the things that we say. Those are connected to us. But in the practice of religion, a lot of those things are connected to someone else's story. So when There are a couple places where I have to walk a little bit more because I end up recording people's houses. There are a couple places where in my development, my spiritual development, when I went to China for the first time, and someone talked about um, how they saw God in, I want to say, and I don't want to mess up, but I believe there was a mountain they were speaking of. It was close to where we were. And they were talking about seeing the creator in that mountain. And so when you're a little kid in the US and you are taught that animism is something crazy and people are worshiping the trees and all this stuff, and then all you hear, such a small click, is that if the most majestic thing around you, the most marvelous thing that you see that is evidence to you that there is divine, that there is the creator, is this magnificent mountain. If the thing that is bringing life to everyone is this mango tree where the leaves can be used and the mangoes can be used and the seed can be used and the particular animals love being in that tree. If these are the things that are in your natural environment that you see that are life sustaining, that are wonder causing, then of course, there is going to be the expression of the divine in those things. One of the reasons Black folks be like, don't say nothing about my mama, is because mamas are so sustaining and life giving and nurturing and supporting and nervous system regulating and all of those things. So it's very easy to talk about, if you've been loved on well, to talk about recognizing the love of the creator and thinking about your mama. And there's many, many allusions to that. Um, so all that to say is, in my traditional initiation, I have truly appreciated being able to, and as it continues to move forward, being able to not just pay attention the to what I hear, what I see, what I feel in the earth around me, uh, the representation of different spiritual principles or characteristics in the world around me and myself, but also being able to pay attention to other cultures and what all of these different plants and animals mean there too, because there are times there are times where something shows up that I'm going, I have never seen that before. An animal, the way a plant is, the way the plant is growing, that calls out to me in a particular way. And so I can hear what I hear about it. And then I can also look up who else who else has a significant meaning for this particular plant or animal. And it's just beautiful. It is beautiful. When we talk about, when you hear Black folks in church talk about the living word, uh, one of part of the living word for me is this. This is part of it because the Creator saw fit to make all of this that connects to me. I am part of the living word, and so is this. So I don't know how fruitful my talking was today, but we did get to be outside together. I'll probably do it again this week and have my thoughts a little better organized. But this is Reverend Okonfo Nwalimu Yogi, sister, mama, forest walker, Adia, saying peace. Go outside, touch the grass, put your toes in the dirt.